No sound detected. Bullshit. Hello, ethereal sage. Glad you're here. Alrighty. Hello, Eric with a CK. I'll forgive you this time. Some tasty debates. Well, we'll see. It's pretty hit or miss. Last time we did like 4 hours, and the first hour was pretty and it got pretty juicy toward the end. Thank you, Viking. So far, the day is so good. It's only 11 in the morning here, though. I'm drinking coffee, but I am going to eat some food, so hopefully I don't get all woozy. Not woozy. Like brain foggy, swimmy. Oh, I gotta pull the multi-guest thing out. Could have had a guest waiting and I wouldn't have even have known it. You cannot clump all religious people into one group. I never do that. What's worse, debating flirfs or creationists? Flirfs are kind of funny to debate most of the time. Sometimes they're infuriating. But creationists, I mean, they have, like, flat earthers don't really have anything they can deal with to try to explain anything. Some of them come up with really goofy, convoluted things, but mostly they're just kind of precious and funny. Whereas creationists, it's just no. It's like I would creationists are infuriating. I would liken it to this: if you're gonna play a game with somebody, like a sports game, board game, it doesn't matter. Playing against a flat earther is like playing against somebody who just absolutely sucks. Okay? And maybe that's not like what you want. It's not all that much fun, but it can. I mean, you can find ways to have fun doing it. Whereas the creationist, that's like going up against somebody who's just cheating. You know, we can see billions of light years. Well, God just made it look that way. Okay, so you're cheating. Okay. Uh, Everything that exists has to have a cause. Okay, does God exist? Yeah, but God doesn't have a cause. Oh, okay, so you're just cheating. Um, so that's how I would describe that. Steve, that comment's actually really funny. It's very accurate too. Did I watch the Jordan Peterson Jubilee? I did more than that. I created content on it. Jordan Peterson made me a bunch of money. How many views did that end up getting? It got a lot. It's at 111,000 views right now. And it's still climbing at a decent rate. So yeah, man, there weren't that many Jordan stands. I was going to say Peter stands, but my last name's Peterson. There weren't that many. I'm going to say it because it sounds funny. There weren't that many Peter stands trying to defend him in there. But one that was really hilarious was this one guy was like, he was saying something to the effect of, all you do is make content making fun of Jordan Peterson, but you could never debate him. He would wipe the floor with you. And I said, dude, I've made my channel has like way over 1,000 videos. I've made 2 videos about Jordan Peterson, but the first one wasn't even about him. It was something he said. He said that Nazis were left wing. And so I just went through the 25-point policy plan that they had and put it on a spectrum of hard right, hard left, sort of indifferent, or like slightly right, slightly left. And it was just, on balance, it was very much everything was on the right. Well, Milf Wrangler, it really is more like one video, because the other one I just used what he said. Peterson does nothing but talk about Peterson. You're scared of Peterson. You know what's actually the funniest part about that is I got a lot of new subscribers from that video. How many subscribers did I get? 800 so far. I've seen a lot of people comment, I've seen your channel before. I always thought your channel was a pro Jordan Peterson channel because it's called Planet Peterson. And it's like, on this channel, it's all things Jordan Peterson, Planet Peterson. It's so, like, no, no, not at all. Peterson is the best example of a closet Christian word generator sophist. Yeah. Peterson. Define Peterson. Well, it depends on what you mean. Do you mean a very sad, broken man who was in a coma for a few years because he got addicted to Percocets or whatever the hell it was? Wait, that's not funny. All right, we do have a guest. They may have been waiting for a little while because I was checking my screen.
What's up, Pipsqueak?
No, you're not the word salad guy, are you?
I had a question.
What?
I had a question.
You had a question? Okay.
Yeah, do you think mental tokens are non-monadically functional, yes or no?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, me neither, buddy. All right, see you.
Do I think mental tokens are non-monadically... I don't know what he said. I don't know what he said. Do I think mental tokens are non-monadically simple? Is that what he said? I don't know. Well, on to the next one. What does that even mean? Yeah, I don't know. De Niro Monder, what's up?
Hey, dude.
What's up?
I'm all good, bro. I actually didn't think I'd hop in here by hitting the request button. That's crazy. I don't disagree with anything you say. I don't actually think I'd manage to get on the actual call. That's crazy. Just want to say big fan, bro.
I don't typically have very big guest queues, but thank
That's
you.
crazy. I thought there would be like hundreds in here. Yeah, I watched quite a lot of your videos. I think I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you put up with them, honestly.
Yeah, me neither.
Like a patient of a saint. I was in one the other day of an English fellow like me, and he just kept going on about the circumference of the earth and dividing that by the distance from the Earth to the Sun was proof that the Earth was flat. And I was just, man, I don't know how you put up with them.
Years of practice. That's all I can say. Weirdly, I do have people lining up now all of a sudden, so I'll have to let you go. I gotta try to pay the bills here, but thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, on to the next one. Space with Spo.
What's up, my man? How we doing?
Good enough.
Good. So I know we share a lot of DNA with chimps, but what do you think about this statement that all we are is a highly upgraded model of a fish?
Are we a highly upgraded model of a fish?
I mean, that's technically not false, right?
We are highly derived fish. So like in evolutionary biology, we have this term called a highly derived trait. And that's a trait that's been, because evolution is descent with modification. So a highly derived trait is one that's been modified so extensively that it really becomes something quite different than, I guess you could say, the original trait. So for example, a bat's wing is really incredible because they just have freakishly long fingers and then their hand is webbed and that's its wing. So that is a highly derived lobe-finned fish fin, which is very crazy to think about. But the structures in, like, we do have structures that fish don't have, but the number of structures in us you can point to that are just modified structures from them, highly derived structures from them, is really glaring. There's huge numbers of them. A really favorite one on our side is the recurrent laryngeal nerve, right? Starts in the brain, goes down around the aorta, and then ends in the larynx. Well, in a fish, that makes sense because the nerve just basically cuts a straight line because a fish's anatomy, like brain, and then where that thing inserts, it's just right here. But we have a neck, and so like we have a head and a neck, and we're upright, so that nerve now makes that crazy path.
Wait, what's the name of that nerve again?
Recurrent laryngeal nerve.
I got it. That's so crazy. No, I just want to get your thoughts on that. I'm reading this book and I learned about that and I was like, oh my God, I never knew I was like an evolved fish. Like I understand like the concept of evolution and I'm learning more about it, but like the fish part just really got to me. Like what?
Is the book Your Inner Fish?
No, it's hold on, let me just grab right
That
here.
is a real book. And it's actually, when people ask me for a recommendation for a book on evolution, I always give that one. There's like three I always recommend.
What are your thoughts on, where is it? Hold on, I'm grabbing it right now. It's by the guy who, here it is. Explaining Life Through Evolution. What are your thoughts on this one? By Prasanta, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Chakrabarty.
Chuck Barty? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that book actually. So
interesting. Yeah, he like breaks it down pretty simple for like the average learner, I guess. But yeah, I'm reading it now. I like it. I'll let you know my thoughts. But thanks for the explanation. I'm gonna look up that nerve you just mentioned. That's insane.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Cheers. Have a great day, man.
I'll do my best. Oh shit. I think I accidentally just declined somebody. So the button to disconnect, so this is for whoever I accidentally just disconnected. The button for disconnect, here I can put it on the screen even. Well, no, nobody on TikTok can see that. The button for disconnect, when a person leaves, the next person below shuffles up, and then the decline button takes the space of that. It's like mobile ads. You go to click the X, and then it moves at the last second so that you actually click the App Store. That just happened, so I think I accidentally just declined a guest. So if you're still there and you're wondering why I skipped you, that's why. Tomahawk, what's up?
Yo, Peterson, how you doing, buddy? I just wanted to get your thoughts on, like, with regards to flat. I mean, I know this is like a creationism sort of debate, but with flat earthers especially, I think you could win a lot more people on side by a different approach. So maybe like less of the Professor Dave, you're a fucking idiot approach, and maybe try and win these people back by being cool with them. Just being like, look, you know, you don't have all the answers. I get why you think that. It's very easy to be fooled by these people, Flat Earth Dave particularly, and all these people that speak in a certain way, and, you know, they can draw you in. But maybe like a different approach, maybe try and win these people back. It's the same argument people say why Trump got elected. Because people said, oh, as soon as you vote for Trump, you're a fucking racist idiot, blah, blah, blah. Just try and win these people back in a different way. Because I fucking hate Flat Earth. It's awful. I just want to get your thoughts on that.
Okay. So I do that more often than people probably think. People probably think it's never. I would say at least half the time I'm doing that. There are some where I can't really, I mean, like, do you know who Free is?
Is this the pot noodle hair kid?
Yes, the ramen noodle Dollar Tree perm
yeah.
kid. Yeah. So
I
the
hate
only
that kid.
the only
I'm not gonna
reason I act the way I act with him is because he's the one that comes in with all that negative energy, and I don't even know if he's being serious with his beliefs. But like, for example, I did a debate on Modern Day Debate, and then I reposted it to my channel. I debated this guy. He goes by Pitch Lumen. I had never heard of him before. But we debated for like, I don't know, 2.5 hours. And the whole at no point did either side hurl one single insult. And neither time did I say, okay, that's fucking stupid, dude. Here, listen. It wasn't like that, you know? So it really just kind of depends on how the conversation's going. There are times, and it probably, hi, kitty cat. There are times, and it probably has to do with, this is her tail right here, where I probably do start it, but it probably has more to do with whoever I was talking to before that got me like all hot and bothered, or no, not hot and bothered, but all riled up, you know?
Like you match their energy. Yeah, I do get that. Yeah, to be fair. Is that a Pitch Lumen debate on your channel? I've not seen that one.
Yeah. Here, I'll tell you if I could spell either word right. Yeah, if just look up Pitch Lumen on my channel. And when did I upload this video? Why won't it tell me? I uploaded that on my birthday. How about that? On May 3rd.
Oh, cool. I'll go give it a go. Well, listen, I appreciate you speaking to me, bro. Keep on doing what you're doing. It's class. I know, facts that aren't true. I love your book. Everyone should get it. It's good.
Oh, thank you very much.
No worries. Have a good day, bro.
You too. Alrighty. Well, De Niro, I already had you up, so I'll have to go to the next one. And then I think Eric Swed would be next. Hello?
Yo,
What's up?
what's up? Hey, I just want to come on here and thank you, man. Through your videos, I've actually went on a bit of a spiritual journey, and I was able to connect with my inner fish. And now I can actually stay underwater for 10 minutes.
Nice. Like
Without connection.
David Blaine did on Oprah.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that was like 20 minutes. No, I think it was 17 minutes something. How long was that? 17 minutes and 4 seconds. Fuck yeah. My memory is still intact. It's like you joking around because you disregard what I do, or are you joking around just because for what's going on?
No, I agree with you.
Oh, okay. I thought it was probably that, but you never know.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Thanks for having me up here.
yeah, go for 11.
11? I got that.
All right. Good luck. Why is everybody being so nice?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Hello, Eric Schwed is like it's like Swede in English.
Shved. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
All right.
I just wanted to say that I'm really happy to see you collab with Dave, especially for the past few videos. And I just like to see your channel grow, especially on YouTube, because on YouTube you can actually make a stronger bond with your viewers. So yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm happy to see the changes. And yeah, that's all. I won't take your time. See ya.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, YouTube is like TikTok. I have a huge following on TikTok. It's like 340 something thousand followers. But TikTok followers aren't loyal like YouTube followers are, because TikTok is just a mass consumption thing. It's just I'm gonna follow that account. Okay, what's next? It's just there's no loyalty in doom scrolling, none whatsoever. Future, I'm gonna bring you up, but I want to see if this person's. Well, I'll bring you both up. Oh, they left. All right, we're gonna double fist this thing right here.
Whoa, pause.
What up? Did I brought you up earlier, right, De Niro?
Yeah, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of the glazing. Fuck you, Peterson. You piece of shit.
Oh man, bro needed his equal attention cake. Oh man. So De Niro, what did you want to ask or?
Yeah. It's to do with religion real quick, if you don't mind. I'm atheist. I debate Christians quite a lot. What do you do when you bring up like the Old Testament, like the Leviticus? Because pretty much every Christian breaks every single rule in Leviticus about wearing two cloths that are different, linen and fiber, tattoos, drinking, listening to music, and then they immediately pivot to, oh, we don't follow the Old Testament. I don't understand. How can they say, like, what do you do to that?
I don't know. I mean, this is the weird thing, because a lot of Christians are apostles of Paul, not Jesus, because it's Paul that says that. Jesus literally never once said. I mean, Jesus literally says, "Those of you who keep the least of these commandments will be called least in the kingdom of heaven." So it's like you can. I guess you can go to heaven if you're a Christian and you don't follow the old commandments, but you're going to live in heaven's ghetto or something like that.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
I feel like they pick and choose what to follow. And
somehow I've had this thought, but I've somehow never brought it up. I just want to know from them, and there are lots of different species of Christian, but like, is thou shalt not murder still valid, or does it not matter? Now, some of them will say there's a distinction between the moral law and the ceremonial law. And then you ask them which ones are moral and which ones are ceremonial, and they have no idea. Sure. So that's a huge problem. But the other thing about...
I bring up one more thing. Oh, sorry, carry on.
This will be really quick, but then yes, by all means. The other thing is a huge number of Christians say that it doesn't matter at all what you do. The only thing that matters is the faith you have that Jesus died on the cross for you. So there's literally, I mean, I guess that's an escape for them. There's absolutely no point of the old law at all. But then I would ask, then what you want to do is ask them, do you believe in objective morality? Because you can't. You have to be a moral subjective or a moral relativist, actually. Really, no matter what, because you're going to say the law was good and it would be wrong to disobey God's commandments in the past, but now they don't apply. That is moral relativism to a T.
Yeah, I feel like they just deflect and go, "Oh, we don't follow Old Testament," as like some sort of.
If you do, so
yeah, exactly. Some sort of like get out of jail card. I'm like, what? Another thing I bring up to them quite a lot is that I ask them if they believe God is all-powerful and all-knowing, and of course they say yes. So I then present the fact that when children, unfortunately, get diseases and pass away, and mass unaliving takes place, is God responsible? Why has he not stopped it? And then they bring up two things. They either say that's Satan, or that's some sort of proxy.
The main problem is the properties, though, is that the properties contradict with each other. So can an all-knowing God who's all-powerful, can the all-powerfulness of that God make him forget something?
But he's not all-knowing, then surely.
Yeah.
Yeah, well then it contradicts with each other. So
I don't
either
believe it
he
does.
can make him forget something, right? Like it just can't exist. So when they say that, just say like, yeah, that can't exist. It's a logical contradiction.
Yeah, it's I just don't understand their yeah, I'm just looking for like your opinion on it. How do you usually combat that when they say, "Oh, it's
The
either Satan's doing it."
all-knowingness.
Yeah, like they say,
Oh,
"Oh,
where
it's
it's
Satan's doing."
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
God
Okay.
made Satan in their eyes, so is that not also then God's fault?
Yeah, what it is. So what they try to do is they say, well, God allows for free will to happen.
Exactly, they
So
use that all the time.
so what I say is I typically tell them something along the lines of, your argument is the equivalent of being a lawyer saying, my client didn't kill that person. A bullet going the speed of sound killed that person. And the bullet could have not done that. So the moral responsibility lies with the bullet. I was like,
For sure.
no, it doesn't work that way. God
No,
knew
not at all.
everything that would happen. And the possibility that we could have chosen otherwise doesn't matter when God knows exactly what we would. We're always going to do. God knew a billion years ago that all of his priests were going to diddle kids, and he created a world where it happened. He's morally
I
culpable
didn't even think
for
about
it.
that, but that's true. That is absolutely true.
Yeah, somebody brought up something fantastic in a YouTube comment for my Wes Huff video from the other day. Because there's this idea that I already brought this up, but a lot of Christians say you're only saved through faith, you know? So, and there's no such thing as a good person and all this other kind of stuff. So, ask somebody if they hold that position. So let's say a priest molests 100 kids, which is a slow Tuesday for a priest, right?
Very slow Tuesday.
Some percentage of those kids are going to lose their faith because of that. But the priest won't. So the priest gets to go to heaven and the kids get to go to hell because of what God's messengers did to them.
Right, that makes no
so
sense. That's horrible.
Ask them how that makes any sense, and they'll
Am I
just
cor-
squirm, and it'll be
Am I
fun to
correct
watch.
when I say that sometimes I bring up, I'm just wondering if I'm correct. I think I am. There's no written account of anyone meeting Jesus. Am I correct?
Not from outside the Gospels, no.
But like
And
even in Matthew, it never does it. I don't think it says once in Matthew, "I am Matthew. I have met Jesus."
On a technicality, technically Paul met Jesus, but that was like a
well,
vision,
not really.
and he just claims it was Jesus.
Yeah,
Yeah, he got a
he
bump
just
on the
saw
head,
bright
right?
light. Yeah, he thumped his melon,
Yeah.
saw bright light, and
Right.
figured it was Jesus.
So I bring that up quite a lot, and they then just pivot onto something else, and they use the Bible as a source, which is
Yeah, they have arguments that the Gospels are eyewitness accounts. They're all really weak. The Matthew one, the Matthew Gospel has the strongest arguments for it. You know, Matthew's said to be a tax collector, and there are certain things that Matthew says that I don't remember off the top of my head what the rhetoric is, but it sounds a little bit convincing. But then you want to, for me, with Matthew, what I ask them is, you know, Matthew's the gospel where it tells a story about when Jesus was a wee lad and they fled to Egypt, and then his parents came back home, but they fucking forgot him in Egypt, and they didn't realize he wasn't with them for 3 days. I don't know how the hell that's even possible.
That's like something you see on YouTube, like body cam footage. Parents
Yeah.
forget kid in car.
But anyways,
You know what's
Matthew.
a funny one to.
Well,
I
just
was
I
just gonna
just
say
really
that-
quick get this out. Matthew couldn't
Yeah.
have been there for that because
No,
Jesus
shut up.
meets all of them when he's an adult. So
yeah.
if
Unless he
that's
was
not
like-
an eyewitness
maybe.
account, why are we saying the other ones are? So anyways, future, go ahead.
A fun one to bring up is the gospel of Jesus's childhood. Tell him that Jesus murdered a guy. He did do that, and he resurrected him.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that.
There's a youth gospel that didn't make it into the Bible because they realized that Jesus was kind of a dick.
Got left on the cutting room
Youth
floor.
gospel.
George Lucas style when filming Star Wars, just left it in the cutting room.
Like he pushed a kid off a cliff and then basically murdered the guy, and then they resurrected him afterwards.
Yeah, that's
Do you think
that's not very nice.
Do Do you think it would make sense? Because I'm an atheist, so I think in my eyes, I shouldn't be following the Gregorian calendar. In my opinion, I should be following the Roman one because Gregorian calendar is centered around Jesus at 0, right?
No.
I
It
mean,
goes from BC
not
to
really.
AD, like
The-
after death.
The history behind the Gregorian calendar, we were using the Julian calendar for a long time. The
Yeah,
problem is the Julian calendar just isn't accurate. The Gregorian calendar is there's two things for it. There was theological motivation behind it, but it is also just objectively a lot more accurate. So what they did was the Julian calendar, it had the leap years, but it wasn't perfect because it's not exact that every 4 years there's an extra day. It's a little bit off. And what happened was the seasons had drifted by a lot by that point. So what they wanted, Pope Gregory wanted to celebrate Easter around the time of the year that the apostles were. So he wanted to adjust the calendar so that the days were more reflective. What they did was they used Copernicus's book, which was horribly flawed in many ways, but it was better at making predictions and things. So it was funny because Copernicus's book was, kind of banned. Only censored versions of it were allowed. But then they copied his work, fixed their calendar, and the way they fixed that was they just deleted like 11 days from October in whatever year that was. So it is literally a better calendar. And yeah, there was theological motivation by it. But the funny thing about that is Jesus was born in either 3 or 4 BCE. So it's not centered around the birth of Jesus.
I think I did a bad job at getting my point across. I just find it interesting how like atheists like me and you and I'm not sure what you are actually. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's why we now say before Common Era, right? Like BCE instead of.
Oh, that's what you
BC.
meant. So you didn't really mean the calendar. You just meant that. Yeah. So I typically say it kind of depends. If I'm just talking to friends, I'll say BC and AD. It's kind of one of those things where the term doesn't even mean anything anymore. It's just what we call the way we.
It's just an arbitrary 0 that we've put on the date.
Yeah,
like
because
everything's arbitrary.
if you did a poll of Christians, I don't know what the number would be, but a huge number of them are going to think that AD means after death because that's what I remember everybody saying. And so it doesn't actually really mean anything. When I am writing papers or books, I use CE and BCE because that's academic language. And funny enough, it was Johannes Kepler that came up with that convention of CE and BCE. Not a secularist, not an atheist. Johannes Kepler.
That's interesting. I know I'm throwing you everywhere here, but something just came back to me about the flat earther. I mentioned that the moon was a satellite, correct? He then immediately immediately pivoted onto satellite being Latin. And once again, I don't understand why they seem that as some sort of gotcha moment. Like when Charlie Kirk said, "Oh, do you know what fetus means in Latin?" Like I don't understand how that is a gotcha moment. They use it a lot.
It's in that case, he's trying to say,
because satellite means bodyguard.
What
in
he's
Latin.
I thought that was.
I
I was going to say century, but that's Roman. Wait, did Romans speak Latin? Why do I not know this?
Yeah,
they did, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
Satellite.
Satellite is Latin. The Latin word for satellite is satellus, which is Latin for bodyguard.
Okay, I'll take your word on that. But what was I going to say? What they're trying to do there is just say, like they're trying to pin you on a definition. So like if you say that blank is or X is Y, then they're going to say, well, did you know the definition of X is actually Z? So, there are times where I do that with people. I can't think of an example off the top. Or like objective, that one comes up a lot because of conversations with theists around morality, because they don't know what objective actually means. Apparently,
no,
because you can't reconcile it with that book. So
I just don't understand when people bring up like ships passing the horizon, the bottom of the ship will disappear first, and then they go on about the convergent of the horizon with your eye level.
Yeah,
It's
which
just
isn't a thing.
I think I'm slowly giving up even trying to get some sense into them. Like
Yeah,
you
I
can go
mean
to the
it's
Burj
not.
Khalifa, right?
What's that?
So you can see the sunset twice from the Burj Khalifa. Ground floor, take the elevator up, see it again.
Yeah, I mean you could see the sunset twice with a crane or a boom lift.
That's
You
also
wouldn't
also
even
a
need
crane.
a. Yeah.
Correct. And I just don't. If they can still at that point, then say the Earth's flat. What do you do?
I don't know. Walk away. The only reason
Walk
I do it
away.
is I found a way to make money doing it. I otherwise don't recommend it.
Okay.
Well,
That's
that's
where
not
I'm
really
going
true.
wrong.
I don't actually think that, but
That's where I've been going wrong. I'm gonna play roulette alongside it.
yeah. Anyways, Jonathan White's been waiting for a while, so I'm going to get to them.
That's
but
fine,
thank
bro.
you.
I'll let him hop on. Appreciate it, bro.
You're welcome. I'm still doing the thing where I'm saying you're welcome, even though people didn't say thank you. But he was giving thanks in a way, I feel. Hello, Jonathan. What's up?
Hey, how's it going, Mr. Peterson? I actually forgot I was on hold here. I watch America from the outside. I'm not an American. I'm a South African who lives in Canada, and
Interesting.
it's a far out question. But like, is there a solution to the chaos in America? Like, does America get better, or is this something that we just have to take day by day, and it just continues to go the way it's going?
I mean, I do in a way. So I'm more pessimistic than I thought I would be, but I would still call myself on balance optimistic. Because like if I look back at the first Trump administration, there were things that he did that I don't approve of that did become kind of permanent in a way, like the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. That's actually up for renewal later this year, like in a couple of months, I think. And it's going to pass, you know. I mean, it's the bill that they're currently working on right now. But a huge number of the other things he did, the court system, the court systems, by looking at, you know, precedent and the Constitution, struck him down on all kinds of things. And so, you know, he tried to completely repeal Obamacare, and it got struck down every single time. Now he did end up destroying parts of it, but you know, not the entire thing. And there were several immigration issues, like the Muslim ban that wasn't a Muslim ban, that was a Muslim ban. It absolutely was. That's one of those. There are a lot of unfair attacks on him that people do, but that one, I wish people wouldn't retreat from it, because he said he wanted a Muslim ban. But then what they did was they just did all these countries that Obama also had travel restrictions from. But like Rudy Giuliani went on the news and said, well, Trump said to me, find out a way we can legally do a Muslim ban. So it absolutely was that. It was just the only version of it that he could get away with. So literally, according to Donald Trump, it was a Muslim ban. So it's a Muslim ban, right? And I don't know, off the top of my head, I can't think of any other examples. Now, this time around, it's a lot worse. And a lot of it is because all the conservative Supreme Court justices, like the presidential immunity thing that they came up with last year, that was utterly disgusting, and I hate it. But I don't want to spend forever on this topic, and I'm filibustering, so I'll just end with this. I do see natural swings in things. I think political history, if you look just kind of everywhere, you see that. And this is one of those things where we may look back on it, and it's kind of like, it's almost like one of those tragedies that made us understand that we need to fundamentally change some things or value certain things to prevent that from happening. And my hope, and I do still see institutional pushback and blocks of what he's trying to do. So my hope is that we get back to a better kind of sense of normal, hopefully. And the other thing is, he's the only one that can get away with being as insane as he is. If a copycat version of him comes up in the next election cycle, people will actually be like, bro, that's super cringe. Get out of here.
Man, my heart goes out to you guys all, and I wish you all the best of luck going forward, America. We all look up to you, you know?
Thanks, I guess. What the heck is that? The window thing. Interesting. All right. Well, now I have no get. I know that we. What are we? 41 minutes in, and we have no hostilities yet.
All right.
It's not.
I'll
okay.
be a hostility.
No.
Okay. Explain.
Oh shit! I didn't know I'd have to do that. Well, do you? I mean, in order for you to even ask questions where you're trying to interrogate me on truth claims, you have to borrow from my worldview. So unless you accept my worldview, your entire interrogation is actually null and void.
What do you mean by null and void?
That which substantiates the validity of a synthetic claim.
What do you mean by synthetic?
I mean, not true by definition, true in virtue of evidence.
Well, you see, back in the day when the Romans were around, synthetic meant something that's not human. Are you referring to humans as not human?
Perchance.
Absolutely fucking dominated in this debate. I won, dude.
Damn it.
Just one, dude. Absolutely wrecked. Explain how water can sit on a ball without a container.
Gravity.
Yeah, gravity doesn't exist in my worldview. You have to adhere to my worldview to explain this.
But your worldview is false. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, how do you prove that it's false?
By the contradictions in your model.
Yeah, my model is the Bible. It has a talking donkey. All right. Can you explain the reference of a talking donkey within the Bible, and where people have seen this talking donkey to make it the claim that the Bible is not true? Can you describe that?
No.
Absolutely fucking dominated. Just got wrecked again, Dinner.
Hi, kitty cat. I've seen Darth. I can't remember what question or statement he did this in reference to, but I've seen Darth do this thing where somebody makes a claim and Darth says, "Oh, have you existed for all of eternity to know that that never happened, or that did have something like that?" Like, he was basically demanding omniscience from the guest for making a simple matter-of-fact claim. It was very stupid. Hello, Megas. What's up?
Oh, hey, how you doing?
Good enough.
Yeah, so what's this live about?
Just kind of the prompts up here. I am I'm a science teacher, so I find people that don't agree with some kind of basic mainstream scientific ideas, and we discuss why they think these things are false. That's kind of what we do.
Okay, so do you want proof that the Earth is flat?
Do you think the Earth is flat?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, you have proof that the Earth is flat?
Yep.
And
so
that is
the proof is gonna be the Quran.
the Quran, huh?
Yeah.
And go on.
Yeah, so the Quran's a miracle from God, right? So everything in the Quran is true, and the Quran says the Earth is flat, so the Earth is flat.
Okay, I can. It's really obvious that you don't mean anything you say. So, do you have any questions before I kick you out?
What do you mean? I'm being
What
serious.
I mean is you're not being serious, and it's really obvious. And then when I said, "Do you have any other questions?" Before I kick you out, well, you did ask a question. You said, "What do you mean?" So I guess I can get rid of you now. There we go.
Peterson running from a debate got absolutely dominated by that guy.
Yeah, I lack the metaphorical substrate to engage honestly with Muslims or any God believers for that matter.
If you think Peterson got destroyed in that debate, hit 1 into the chat. We'll see if he got destroyed in that debate.
But what if they don't think? Then what do they type?
Look at those ones going by. Look at that. Absolutely destroyed, dude.
69. What's the? I was trying to remember this word from memory yesterday, and it's the word for the fear of long words. Hippopotomonstro sesquipedaliophobia. I think that actually is how I remembered it. Hippopotomonstro sesquip. No, I always want to say pedophilia in the middle. It's really hard not to. Hippopotomonstro sesquipedophilia, but that's not what
the fear of long words.
Yeah, is a long word. Yeah,
that include the attraction of children.
Yeah, that includes the attraction of children. Hippopotomonstro sesquipedaliophobia. Hippopotomonstro sesquipedaliophobia. Okay, I can probably remember that. That's so mean. Like, why would somebody do that? Like the word lisp. If you have one, you can't say it.
It's very ableist. It's an ableist culture that we live in.
Pretty much, yeah.
I feel like when it comes to like the fear of balloons, they should always make the fucking the word look like a balloon. You know, when they're showing pictures of it.
There's this. I don't remember what show it's from, but there's this really funny skit about people who have. It's a support group for phobias. And everybody has a really specific phobia that always triggers the next person to get theirs triggered and so on. And so there ends up like 5 people and every single one of them triggers the next person's phobia. So it's just a circle of people just being like, ah. It's funny.
All right, Peterson. If God doesn't exist, explain.
That's it. Explain.
Yeah.
Well, if God doesn't exist, then you can't explain anything because the non-God worldview reduces to absurdity.
Absolutely correct. Thank you for becoming a Christian. Appreciate it.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Absolutely wrecked in this debate.
Oh, man.
All right, Peterson.
Might have to...
What do you think about the current situation?
It's kind of fucked.
What, you think that it's kind of fucked that trans people are getting rights in the EU? That's fucked up.
That's not... I didn't know what you meant.
That's super fucked up, Peterson. Why would you say that?
Oh, man. Dude, you got to be careful because I've had my live stream shut down on multiple occasions and been banned for a week just for making a satirical comment like that. So it was funny, but like I literally, that has happened to me twice. It happened one time, and then the next time I was doing a live stream, I just talked about it. I said, oh yeah, I got banned because somebody said blank, and then in response as a joke, I said blank. And then like a few minutes later, I got banned for a week again for gender violence or something like that.
Is that a TOS thing? I didn't know gender violence was a thing.
It's one of TikTok's. Yeah, it's it's longer than that, but that's essentially what it is for promoting or expressing gender-based violence is what they call it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's strange because I see so many lives talking. There's like the title is like super like transphobic or something like that. So that's interesting.
Yeah, well, TikTok has a file on me. I literally cannot. Here, I'll do it right now. I haven't posted a TikTok video in a while, but I went super viral in May, so I was just like, I'm just gonna wait. Okay.
My most viral moment on my TikTok page has been talking about when Charlie Kirk called Finland Russia. That one went pretty good.
So I just opened TikTok to the FYP. I don't even know what this video is, but I'm gonna write this comment. That that's so.
Oh, it says this is stupid.
Yeah, it's really hard to read, but it says this is stupid. Okay, I'm gonna comment that. I promise you, this will get deleted instantaneously. Okay, I commented. Going to my notifications, refreshing. It didn't work. That's the first time it's ever not worked. Maybe things have changed. Usually I say stupid idiot. All right, let me try again. All right, this is a video with dinosaur toys.
Propaganda.
You are a stupid idiot. Okay, so I have commented. I've done this on stream before. You are a stupid idiot. It's blurry. Probably can't read it, but I did comment it. Go to my notifications. There we go. A comment you posted was deleted for. It doesn't even give a reason. It just says it's been deleted. So there we go. I wish the camera would focus, but at 11:57 a.m. That's what time it is where I am right now. So I guess it's the word idiot. I guess it's not stupid, but man, the way, like the number of TikTok videos I see that just say blatantly like racist stuff and whatever, and show like I saw a video of a rotting corpse inside of a hoarder's house one time, and it's like, what? And it's just, I don't know. I've had so many violations. I would argue all but like maybe 5 of them were completely bogus over the years that they just automatically take down everything I say. Another good thing would be, since I have no guests to talk to, TikTok does hidden comments. It's like if you post a video.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So this video has about 800,000 views. Oh, wow. It doesn't have any comments for me to approve. That's strange.
Peterson silencing critics. Yeah. Hear it on this stream, folks.
Huh. Unless they changed where those appear.
It's down.
It's at the bottom. Yeah, you're right. I was thinking it's at the top. So let's go to. I don't know if I can get to the bottom of a video that has 1,709 comments. I'm gonna try. View folded comments. Oh no, it's not there. Huh. But those are always incredibly stupid. The comments that are hidden that you have to approve. Half the time they say nothing at all. It's just like, it's just a sentence. Like it doesn't contain any swear words or anything like that. It just, it's dumb. Yeah, so we got a guest. Eniona 3939T.
Hi.
What's up?
I'm doing good right now, and I just have to run a few tests right now. First things first, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you, yeah.
And when I do this, can you still hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. That's great. Next thing is the last guest that was here. You talked about this is a, I don't know what it is, but it's a place you could come to discuss with you who is a, wait, what are you again?
Well, I'm an agnostic Well, I don't know what you mean by that. I'm an agnostic atheist, but I'm I'm not currently, but I was for 10 years a science teacher. So I just like promoting science and having some laughs. So
Okay. Okay. So you come on here to talk with people who may or may not agree with what you know your worldviews, et cetera, and ask them for evidence as to why they wouldn't agree.
essentially, yeah.
Okay, so a very important question because I am also, you know, atheist, and but the thing is, I don't know if you invite atheists on to talk about atheism. That seems a little, I don't know.
Well, I don't invite anybody. I bring everybody up and we just hear what they have to say.
Okay, all right. So it wouldn't matter what I have to say, so long as it's serious.
Uh I guess.
Okay, right. So this is now I can finally start. Now I can say what I came here to say. Um, I have a uh, worldview. 2 days ago, I came onto your Discord server to ask how to get on, one of these TikTok lives, and I said I had a theory. I just want to clear things up right now. It is not in any way, shape, or form a theory. It's at best a hypothesis, right? But it does need some scrutiny so that I can, decide whether or not it's worth, writing down or anything like that. And in response to a apologist claim that I heard a while back, which is religion is necessary uh, because it's the backbone of any society. It creates stability, this and that. Uh, my idea was that if you could replace religion with something, what would that thing be? And I concluded that that thing is probably art. Does that make sense?
Art? So art
Yes.
art is the thing that could replace religion, or art is the
Yes.
thing Oh, okay. I mean, it depends on how nebulous you are with your definition of art.
Oh,
Because I would say if we have pretty paintings to look at, then I don't see how that's going to inspire humanity to coexist and solve new problems and move the society forward. We'll just call it that way. And I don't even mean like from a progressive political perspective. I mean like keep the population healthy and all of those kinds of things. But if you extend art to literature, then I could kind of understand that, because there are people that make some interesting arguments that fiction has this, like fictional literature has this very powerful influence on the way on shaping the way people think about society, the human condition, how they treat one another, so on and so forth. Because you can tell a made up story, and if you're a good writer, people fall in love with the characters, and they see what kinds of either tragedies or triumphs they endure, and they can connect that to the real world. And it's been proposed that that has a monumental influence on human cognition, right? So I could see that happening, but I think you can't have a civilization of 8 billion people. And like, we're not a singular civilization, but it doesn't really matter on any level. You can't have complex societies like we have without a huge amount of like science and technology. And I don't really see where art necessarily is going to be the engine for that. So
Hmm. Yeah, science and tech definitely is, in my opinion, more important for development as a society than art is. You know, sometimes I don't even think that art is a necessity, really. I just think that it is something that developed while, you know, when from hunter gathering, where we had absolutely no use for art, all the way into current day, where art basically just exploded. And now fiction is absolutely everywhere in every corner of cyberspace. And it's just, we didn't necessarily have to develop these forms of thinking, but science and technology definitely did have to be developed. I 100% agree with that. So I'm gonna define what I think art is. You know, like, I don't want to be too nebulous or abstract with my definition. My actual denotation of art is an expression of ideas, experiences, and emotions of whatever was going on at the time. You know, and my
yeah, I like that
connotation.
definition.
Yeah, thank you. And my connotation for art would be the closest thing to immortality that human beings can get. Because when you have died, long after you have died, your creations can be unearthed by other people, and they can get clues as to what was going on in that time. They can get clues of your languages, they can get clues of your games, they can get clues of your buildings. Like architecture, I think probably qualifies as some form of art and engineering together, I suppose. But yeah, they can get all these clues, but obviously the person who made it is dead. You know, there's no
Yeah.
immortality going on in the world, and I don't think any god or gods has yet to provide that. Maybe I'm missing something. That's how I would define art as a whole.
Okay.
And when you have these ideas, etc., of, you know, that you express onto walls or uh, onto walls or canvases, then you should see a narrative of human beings progressively, as the years go by, gaining more and more abstract thought. So I decided that I'm gonna just Google a few things, and I'm gonna need to do a little more. I understand that a Google search is not that much because it didn't take a lot of effort anyhow. But if you look up the zigzag shells, that's a it's a shell that was uncovered a while ago with zigzag markings, like scratches on them, from 350,000 years ago. And I guess we have it in museums today. But at any rate, this doesn't exactly look like what we would call art today. You know, it's probably curiosity at best. If you look at the zigzag shell, it's just a human seeing how sharp this rock is. Oh, it's pretty sharp. And then they moved on. And then thousands and thousands of years later, somebody else found these zigzag shells and they said, put it in a museum. So then we move on to, you know, 130,000 years ago, where you see possibly Neanderthals and eagle pendants. So in a rock shelter, they uncovered some collected eagle talons, and it looked like those talons had possibly been fashioned into a necklace. So we see the first, well, not possibly not the first, but we see an instance 130,000 years ago, probably an early instance of human beings, you know, developing their abstract thought to represent status or fashion, and adorning these, you know, talons on themselves, and they walk around with them. Then you fast forward again to 45,000 to 17,000 years ago, and you see cave paintings, which is an early instance of human beings with what is it? Oh yeah, this is an early instance of them documenting things and narrating things like their lives. For example, the cave paintings usually just have humans, spears, and cattle everywhere. That's the whole
Right.
cave paintings because that's all that was going on at the time. They were hunter gatherers. They saw cattle, they were happy. They didn't see cattle, they were sad and probably dead. That's all that was going on at the time.
Have
And
you,
then you,
so in, I think it's in Lascaux. I'm not 100% sure, but there are these cave, here, let me bring this up on screen.
okay, yes,
Cave painting. I think they're rhinos. I don't think it's this exact one, but here, let me pull up an image of this. So why is the image that small? I'm gonna try to bring this up on stream here so people can look at it. I don't know if this is true, but it would be really fascinating if it was.
mhm.
So there's this idea we have that you see. It's probably not this exact picture, but you see the animals, and there's all these overlaps. You know, it looks like they drew that one rhino 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Mhm.
And what's been proposed is it's in a cave. So if you have, some sort of artificial light, which for them would just be a torch, when you move the light a certain way, it actually illuminates different parts or different images. So it becomes almost like a flip book or a movie. And so there was this idea
Oh,
that people were actually, it would have been a way to like make entertainment for them. Now, that's something we could never know, I would say, but it's cool to think about that could have been what they were doing.
100%. Yeah, definitely. This is This is animation thousands of years ago.
Basically, yeah, the first motion
Humans were
picture.
ahead of the time.
Dumpy
Okay.
the Rhino. The first
I love it.
the first animated feature.
The last supporting point I have right now, that's probably the most important one, is technically the most recent one, and that's the Venus figurines. If you don't know
Right.
what a Venus figurine is, it's just sculptures of fat women, I think. Yeah, I don't know how else to put it. I think it's just sculptures of women who have a lot of body weight, like a lot of body weight.
Yeah, and they
And
have extremely exaggerated sexual organs as well, yeah.
mhm, the reason I bring up a Venus figurine is because it is thought that they represented fertility and prosperity. So,
Yeah.
generally speaking, a woman of that size could birth a baby much easier and probably lactate more often to be able to, feed their young so that they grow up big and strong. Hallelujah. And then they turn into men, and those men start hunting, and then the species lives on.
Yeah,
In my opinion,
that's still how humans think today.
mhm,
And for reference, just Google BBL.
later, I'll
Yeah,
Google that
later.
later.
Yeah.
Uh, what was I saying? Oh yeah, in my opinion, I believe that this is an early instance of our abstract thinking having developed over 300,000 years. That's a really long time frame. This is an early instance of human beings creating artworks for things that they wish were true, but weren't actually true. And when I
Um
say,
yeah, I
oh, go ahead.
guess I would say maybe it's an expression of an idealization.
Hmm. Uh, with that being said, I believe that saying religion is art is not exactly far-fetched because when you look at religion, and you break it down in art terms, what it ends up being is this amalgamation or this total artwork, because let's take let's take the Christian religion, for example. You have the visuals with the paintings of Jesus Christ and the sculptures and the stained glass windows. You have the written arts, which is the Bible, and I don't know what else they do. I only know the Bible. And then you have the architecture, which is their churches and cathedrals. You have the performative arts, which is their them going to church, them praying, and you also have the songs, which is the hymns and all that stuff. You have all these things that religion, or this religion specifically, is borrowing from art to make itself, again, it's just an amalgamation of art. That's why I say that religion isn't necessary for society, but rather art is, because as long as we've known, according to these, supporting points, art is everywhere humans are, They leave behind these creations, and long after they're dead, we find clues of what their life was like.
Yeah. I mean, what I would say is that art isn't necessary, it's inevitable. So I wouldn't argue that it's something that sustains human populations or is necessary for human civilizations to exist or whatever. It's something we just can't not do, essentially. I think religion is something we can't. I think it's something that comes natural, but it is something we can choose not to do. It's just taking a while. I'm working on it though.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah.
It's a little unfortunate because I also believe that because all this stuff, all this religion qualifies as just art, just fiction, right? We probably as a society or even a species at large are probably stunted severely by believing these things to be fact. You know, we believe these, artworks to be fact, and then our we build our societies around them. And these religions, they stagnate because that's what they're meant to do. They're meant to be rigid and unchanging. They stagnate, therefore progress stagnates. And we're stunted as a species because we won't let go of these, concepts that were born of abstract thinking. And that's just really unfortunate in my eyes.
Yeah. I got to get to some guests, but thank you.
No problem.
Laters.
Take care.
All right. I didn't have any guests that entire time until like 5 seconds ago. So, oh dang, look at that. That's cool. Hi Richie.
How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay, yeah, so trying to think. So I mean, like, there's different arguments to use. I would say the one I like the best is the problem of the protein sequence space. So like obviously a typical protein has 150 amino acids, right?
Are you you're telling me evolution can't be true because there are too many non-functional permutations of a protein?
Yeah, I mean if there's if there's 20 amino acids, so the total number of possible sequences is like 20 to 150, right? So
well, if the protein has 150 amino acids, then yeah.
Right, but evolution has to like search this space by like incremental steps or like mutations. So I mean, natural selection can only preserve what already works.
Yeah, that's true, and that's not a problem.
So, the argument it can't plan ahead though, right?
Yeah, I know.
So if it can't plan ahead, what would your argument be to that?
Why would it need to be able to plan ahead?
I mean, because natural selection basically only selects traits that give a current like survival or reproductive advantage. I mean, it has no ability to plan ahead or build like multi-step structures. I mean,
Yes,
uh,
but there
unless every
are
intermediate step is also beneficial. I mean, this makes
yeah,
it
an
inherently.
intermediate step can absolutely be beneficial.
But I mean, it would force evolution to explain every step, not just the end result.
Yeah, I know. It can explain the intermediate steps because the intermediate steps can be beneficial. So, for example, take you know what leaf mimicking insects are?
Yeah.
So, when you see a leaf mimicking insect, it's really insane because some of them, they even have the brown spots on them. They have little pieces of their body where it looks like part of the leaf has like decayed or like not fallen off, but like they're not perfectly shaped, right? They're very convincing leaf mimics, right? And so the idea is evolution has to be able to see that with foresight and progress toward that goal. But it doesn't, because let's imagine so there are no leaf mimicking insects, but there are insects, right? And let's say that an insect lives on a tree. You with me so far? Okay, and that insect, let's say the insects give birth to absurd numbers of offspring, right? So let's say an insect gives birth to, I'm just going to say 100 offspring. Some of them are a shade of green that's really close to the shade of the leaves of the tree they live on, and others are not. So some of them blend in with the environment better. So the ones that blend in with the environment better have a better statistical chance of surviving and reproducing, and their offspring are going to look more like them, not more like their siblings that don't blend in as well. Does that make sense so far?
It does make sense so far, yes.
Okay. So this insect does not have all of the hyper-specific leaf mimicking phenotypic traits yet, but it has part of it, right? And the key is the full leaf mimicking insects don't exist yet. But natural selection can incrementally pick out, and I'm saying that it does it consciously or something, which isn't the case. That's just the way we talk about things. But now that the shade of green has been picked out, now an insect that's very slightly flatter than another looks even more like a leaf, and that kind of variation can occur in a population. And so they gradually, this kind of, we call it directional selection, pushes the population, that species or whatever, to become more and more and more phenotypically specialized. But it can happen. The key thing here is it can happen in tons of different ways, because there are leaf mimicking insects, there are stick mimicking insects. So it could be the case that in that original population, some of them are born brown. Well, now they're going to live on the branches and blend in better. And once that gets started, then bodies that are ever more slightly elongated, or insects that have a proclivity to stand still more often, are going to be hidden better. And then that just keeps getting more and more exaggerated over the generations.
Okay. I do hear what you're saying. I mean, yeah, if I can grant to you to an extent that when it comes to leaf mimicking insects, that this could be the case. The issue here would be is that if you're saying gradualism works in this case, the problem is that partial mimicry isn't really good enough. So
yes, it is.
Natural selection would not favor it, because it may actually penalize it.
No,
it would penalize it.
No, it wouldn't penalize it. You're comparing partial mimicry to complete mimicry. The complete mimics don't exist yet. They're not competing against complete mimics. They're competing against the other members of their species, and the species is moving toward more perfect mimicry, but isn't there yet. So the less than perfect mimics absolutely have a survival advantage over the other even less than perfect mimics. Perfect mimics don't exist yet.
Okay, so if I grant you that with leaf mimicking insects, this to be the case, um, the question I'd have for you next would pretty much be that, like, are we to believe that these random mutations in selection, basically with no planning, produce this level of precision, step by step, but basically, I mean, the odds of this happening without coordinated guidance is vanishingly small. I mean, that's the problem. Is that, like, yeah, I can grant you, like, with leaf mimicking insects, maybe the case. The problem is that you're saying that with no planning, random mutations produce this level of precision across the board. Because you see it not just in insects, correct?
You see it in everything, but we already walked through the logic of it. Every population is going to have some variation. That variation is not planned ahead, but those phenotypic variations that can produce a statistically better chance of survival are absolutely capable of being selected in the environment, and then that changes the genetic composition of the population, because certain individuals with certain trait expressions statistically survive more often, and then therefore their offspring make up more of the population every generation, and that's what drives the like phenotypic diversity and well really it drives speciation. So
Yeah, I mean, but like mimicry, like I would say like mimicry involves like multiple traits, governed by multiple systems. I mean, like, the thing is, like, where's the genetic mechanism that makes this happen? I mean, there's no known like leaf mimic gene, right? So if mimicry involves
well,
multiple
there
traits
are
governed by multiple systems, I mean,
very few traits have a gene for them. Like human height is like, it's literally thousands of genes work. Well, maybe not thousands, but certainly hundreds of genes that work together. So there's no gene for human height, but there still are clearly the difference. But the environmental effects of human height are extremely subtle. Now we don't have the gene for human height, but it's very clearly overwhelmingly genetic still.
right. I mean, I'm trying to think of how to respond. I do hear what you're saying. It kind of comes down to, I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times. I mean, this is like a very common fun run thing, but I mean, like, in theory, I mean, like, the likelihood of this happening is the same as a hurricane producing a house, but it's like,
Yeah, it's those.
in theory, sure, but it's like statistically absurd in practice.
That's because those explanations are always a really terrible straw man of what's actually happening, because those examples, what they do is take a current living organism. Well, I mean, the biggest problem is that it assumes that the process is a random, unguided. Well, I don't want to say unguided, but it assumes it's a random process, and it's not. What accounts for the variation is random, but the selection is very non-random. We're going to pause for just a second because I want to show everybody this. This is from the YouTube channel Stated Casually. He does evolution educational videos. But here's that leaf mimicry played out in front of us. The idea of, so those guys are not selected for because they don't blend in. The green one blends in. It doesn't look like a leaf yet, but every generation slightly different. That went a lot faster than I thought it would. But every generation, slightly different variations in the population pop up. And then that's how we can get sort of each step in the phenotypic variation over and over again. So I slowed it down, so it's like half of what it was. So there's the idea of how it works right there. So anyways, I just wanted to show that because it's cool.
No, you're fine. I mean, like, obviously the argument always comes down to, yes, what you're saying in practice and demonstrated could make sense. It could make sense, yeah. I mean, but you would agree that like 99% of the mutations are either neutral or harmful, right?
No, I wouldn't say 99%. I mean, well, I mean, maybe it is that, but that doesn't really matter because we have
For the
natural.
1%.
Yeah,
Right,
even if
7%.
only 1% of them are beneficial, well, okay, which mutations are going to be selected for? The beneficial ones. So if you have a population of 1 million organisms and only 1% of them have the more beneficial mutations, then they're going to be selected for in that environment. So it can still drive change in them. The only argument you could come up with that is, well, if most mutations are harmful, then that would just cause the population numbers to crash because there wouldn't be enough beneficial mutations for the population to maintain, and so the species would just go extinct. And it's like, okay, let me grant you that that's how it works. We know for a fact that mutations happen, so this must mean that every single population on Earth is dying. That's not the case. So the logic of the argument is just so self-evidently defeated that I don't understand where we're going.
Yeah, no, I mean the response to that would just be okay. So like the reason I asked about the 99% of mutations, okay, would be is that so 99% of the mutations are either neutral or harmful. I mean, well, and again, we can call it, let's say 90% just for sake of argument. I mean, we could say that. Also, sorry, my son is opening a bag of chips next to me. I don't know if you hear that or not. Oh, just a moment. Sorry. Yeah. So, what else? What I was gonna say is that so the problem is that like for the human brain, for example, okay, obviously this has like billions of neurons. I mean, they're basically wired in time by dozens of gene networks. I mean, a single mutation won't improve intelligence unless it's matched by many others.
Can you open this?
So yeah, I can open it. Yeah, actually, I might have to get going. My son actually woke up and he wants a snack. But so like there you go. There's that. I mean, the thing is that a single mutation won't improve intelligence unless it's matched by many others. And again, there's billions of neurons that are firing at the same time. So that would that's statistically impossible by chance, because you have billions of neurons. You have it's being functioned by dozens of gene networks. So you'd have to.
So you're saying they would all have to be beneficial in the same kind of way?
Correct. I mean, like if the argument was that 50% of mutations were neutral or harmful, you'd have a much better argumentation. But I believe the consensus in most, like, out there is that 99% are either harmful or they're just neutral. You'd have to have billions of of beneficial mutations occurring to create this network of the brain for mutations. I mean, again, obviously, it all comes down to 1%. Sure, I guess over time it could occur. But.
So that's a good argument. I've never heard anybody say it that way before. If a trait is polygenic, then all of the traits that control for it have to be positive, or it doesn't. So what you're doing is you're multiplying low probabilities. 1% times 1% times 1% times 1% is 0.00000. I've never heard that before. That's a good argument. But I think it falls apart because what can happen is even if a trait is polygenic, all you need is one gene that what's the word I'm looking for? Contributes to that trait. Only one of them needs to change for it to have fairly dramatic downstream effects. Because the thing about polygenic traits is if one of those genes slightly modifies the expression of another gene, that can slightly modify the expression of all the others. So we don't require a mutation in all of the genes that contribute to a trait. We really just need one, and its downstream effects can be really dramatic. I want to say there may be some examples of that, but I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree with you to an extent. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like a change in eye color, for example, that's or a specific trait that can just be changed by a single gene mutation. Obviously, it can cause noticeable change.
Right.
But obviously, again, the reason I mentioned the brain is the brain depends on many genes working together in highly coordinated ways. changing one
Yeah.
gene can even cause problems because genes often they interact, and a mutation might disrupt other important functions. So that's why it's like when it comes to the brain is very complex, and the changing of a gene affecting or disrupting other functions would mean they would have to perform perfectly. They'd have to be not only beneficial but almost like they have to be, I don't know how to say it, but like properly, but they have to have different layers to that. And anyway, man, I really do appreciate the conversation with you. My son's up, so I have to get going to him, but I'll shoot you a follow. I'll come back if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean,
I'll just I was gonna, God, it's making me, we've detected inactivity. I'm literally sitting here talking. So what do you mean inactivity? Another detail I would add to this is, what he's talking about kind of ignores the gradualism. So, human brains haven't always existed. We have ancestors that had, like the tissue is the same, and even the genes that control for it are still conserved. We know, thanks to embryonic experiments, that you can literally take a patch of tissue from the embryo of a completely different species. Like, it can literally be, you can do amphibian to chicken transplants. So I can take a patch of tissue from a developing embryo in one species, transplant it onto the other species, and it'll trigger that species to wherever you did the patch, grow that kind of tissue. So you can take frog embryo tissue and from like where it's going to develop a limb and put that on a chicken embryo, and the chicken will grow a chicken wing in a place that it's not supposed to, for example. Kind of lost my train of thought with that. But anyways, it kind of ignores the concept of gradualism. But the other thing is, with there have to be all these mutations that all work. With simpler organisms, what we consider simpler organisms, one of the facts with them is they tend to breed in massive numbers. So, like, for example, insects or many other types of invertebrates. Well, for organisms like us, we don't breed nearly as much. Same with most vertebrates, except for fish. So there is kind of this good line of reasoning that says something like, well, we can't afford to just do all these kinds of crazy permutations of the traits, because the odds are that's going to produce something that doesn't necessarily work nearly as well. But something we know about species is some species have highly conserved genomes and other species don't. And the species that do not have highly conserved genomes tend to be ones that are more simple and reproduce in incredible numbers. There can, along the way in the story of evolution, there can be the not concept of, but the fact of genomic conservation would be the word. I don't know what the term for it would be, but the evolution of the genome being more conserved can appear, and then in populations or species, I should say, that don't reproduce in as huge a number, and then this problem isn't really that much of a problem. So hopefully I articulated that well enough that it makes sense. Anyways, I do not have any guests right now. What's going on? There's lots of fighting happening on YouTube. I haven't really been paying attention to it, but I glance over every now and then and I see something's going on. What's TikTok talking about? if I and Jordan Peterson debated, could we call it a PvP? That's funny. Yeah, sure. Well, Johnny, you do have the power to ignore them. That depends on what you mean by Peterson. Time is it 12:40? Anyways, oh, Brian's here.
Hey, Peterson, what's going on, sir?
Not too much. Wait, have we talked before?
A time or two, and
okay.
I'm also on that Omni server.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not exactly a place full of the brightest individuals, but it is what it is.
No, it is not.
I just wanted to pop on and fill a little bit of time if you're still going to try to stay on and looking for guests. But I do always find it interesting that when they have this discussion about natural selection and what's selected for and the rate of mutation, they always seem to go through this idea that mutation should happen for every individual that has every breeding pair individual, and that all of their offspring are going to be that way. Even if it's just 1% of the breeding population generate this 1% mutation, now you've got a pool that if it's selected for, can start to creep into the populations. They just seem to have this all or nothing, all at once take on how evolution should work, and I've never understood how they've gotten to that point.
Well, I think they're coached to just simply parrot that stuff and not talk about it. Like people that don't believe in evolution don't read books about evolution. They don't think about evolution. None of them ever do this, except for, the people that write the articles on Answers in Genesis for them to read. Some of them probably do, but they don't even try to attack evolution on its merits. They just use their stupid propaganda.
Which in and of itself is confusing, because assuming they paid attention in high school, they would have enough understanding to know the things Answers in Genesis have said to them are not accurate.
Mm-hmm. Well, what Answers in Genesis does is they just say the scientific data is inaccurate, and then they use, I mean, to the extent that they use models, they take papers that frauds like Stanford and others write, and they say, yeah, it's impossible for this to happen because of genetic entropy, or because they use the statistical arguments, which are just so brain dead. If it's 100 amino acids long and there are 20 amino acids, then 20 to the 100th power, there hasn't been enough time in the universe for the correct one to be selected, and shit like that.
God, that set of arguments and the replacement rate argument are so laughably bad that anybody who has even just a little bit of background in mathematics should just literally pick up the argument and beat the people to death who made it with that argument. And I thought I was going to be able to stay on and hold some time. Unfortunately, I'm getting a phone call I can't ignore. I'll talk to y'all later.
No problem. Thanks for coming up. Have you read work by Robert Sapolsky? Yes, I have read Behave and Determined. And now it's time to hear what Eddie thinks.
Hello, Mr. Peterson.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Oh, actually, I have a question. Since that new data came out from that, I forgot the name of the acronym, the one that mapped the visible universe recently.
DESI?
DESI, yeah. So, and I've heard Blitz talk about it, saying how that the dark matter is actually appearing to slow down, possibly indicated that it might be reversing itself, that, we may be in for a big crunch as opposed to just expanding forever.
I think you mean dark energy. Yes, I've heard this, and I've talked about it several times before, and I keep saying I need to go and watch that video again to really commit to memory what this is all about. And then I keep forgetting to do it. So,
but I'm just wondering, so if the observable universe appears to be slowing down, is it possible then that the rest of the universe beyond what we can observe might already have stopped or may even be collapsing on us, and we wouldn't know it because we only see the visible universe?
That's absolutely permissible, yeah.
And I was just kind of thinking about that. It could be collapsing right now, but we have no way of knowing it.
Yeah. Well, trillions of light years away from us, it could be that the expansion rate is far greater than it is here. And it creates I don't know if this is the vacuum decay or what this is, but it can basically rip the fabric of space-time, and that will, once that happens, it will not stop, and it will consume the entire universe. So the universe may be currently being destroyed. It's like if you lived in a building that was 1 light year tall and somebody knocked out the base of it. The building is, you have no idea, and you won't know for a long time, but the building has been destroyed, basically, yeah.
Okay.
Or its destruction has already been initiated.
It's just too far away for us to notice it yet.
Yeah.
Okay. I just had that thought. I wanted to ask Blitz about it, but he's always busy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks a lot. Sorry, I'm having pizza. I gotta go.
No worries. Just don't look behind me. Too late. Something back there, just Spanky. And my Lego solar system model. My Lego orrery. Mr. Gone? I don't know.
You can just call me Chris.
Okay, what's up?
So, I believe in evolution. I think it's true. I don't understand it very well.
Okay. Well, buy my book, Rational Answers to Stupid Questions, and you'll learn all about evolution.
So, I watch a YouTube channel, Eons, on YouTube. Is that
I love
reliable?
PBS Eons. Oh, no, yeah, they're extremely good. The guy who's like he's not in all that many of their videos. The ripped dude with the blonde hair, I can't remember his name, but he's an actual paleontologist, and he's like he like is the founder of the channel or something. I don't know what you call it. He's like the CEO of PBS Eons or whatever.
So, what I know about evolution so far is the selection. It's random mutation, but the selection is not random. Is that correct?
Yep.
Alright. Yeah. Because I sometimes go in anti-evolution lives. I say, oh, it's random mutation, eh? can't possibly produce X, Y, or Z.
Yeah, I mean it literally can.
It has. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I saw one dude say, if evolution is true, why don't we have sheep with laser cannons?
You don't get to tell evolution what it would do. Why? I don't know
Exactly.
why. I don't know what makes anybody think that would be the case. You could just ask them, are sheep good at surviving? Yes. Then a sheep is absolutely explainable by evolution through natural selection.
Yeah. Oh, I saw another dude said the fossil record isn't proof of evolution, it's proof of a worldwide flood. And his reasoning was each layer is where the floodwater slowly rises.
Yeah, that's literally falsifiable because the layers have they're not sorted by density. And
Yeah.
and the this image of the layers rising. First of all, it only takes 40 days for the waters to reach their maximum level.
Yeah.
I believe it's either
Not
40 or
thousands of
it's
years.
either 40 or 100, but I think it's 40. But anyway, it wouldn't matter. That is still an incredibly short amount of time. So what would have to happen is organisms that share the same kind of environment would then be in the same layers, and that's absolutely not what we find. Like, for example, the marine organisms, we don't find whales and seals and dolphins and any kind of walruses. We don't find modern animals with the plesiosaurs and the ichthyosaurs and the mosasaurs and the Permian fish and all those kinds of things. They're separated by they're vastly separated by layers. And in between the layers, you find land-dwelling organisms. So they have nothing. It's all completely fucked.
Yeah. Another thing he said, same dude, said the Cambrian explosion is proof that God made the world and then did not elaborate at all.
What they usually say is there are too many species in the Cambrian. It represents the sudden appearance of life, not the gradual evolution of life, which is flawed in many ways. One, it presupposes that we have the entire record of all life on the planet preserved in fossils, which is absolutely not true.
We have a fraction of the actual
what you could
creatures?
say, what you could say to them is, oh, the oldest complete copy of the Bible we have is from the 3rd or 4th century, whatever it is. Therefore, the entire Bible, no character in the Bible ever existed, and the entire thing was for the first time ever written in the 300s. Well, that's obviously false. It's a stupid argument, but you should make it to them because it's the exact same argument they're making. But we have fossils of creatures before the Cambrian. We have the Ediacaran, and we have many other specimens. So we have fossil specimens of species before the Cambrian that are not the species from the Cambrian. So it literally does nothing other than demonstrate clearly that at different periods in Earth's history, there were different kinds of organisms that never coexisted.
Yeah. What I understand about the Cambrian, the reason we see such the explosion is because harder substances were chosen through evolution, like bones and stuff.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, a lot of people, it's probably true. The idea of an evolutionary arms race for the right around the beginning of the Cambrian was where animals began to incorporate minerals into their bodies. And so predators that have teeth are around. And that that put pressure on prey to begin to develop armor to combat for that. And then the other was like, fuck you. And then the other was like, oh yeah, fuck you. And then the other. So yes, the evolutionary arms race type thing that kind of thing is a major driver of I don't know if this is an actual term, but radiative evolution, where you just get proliferations and diversifications of organisms.
Mm. Very nice talk. I have to go. I have to go back to cleaning and stuff.
No problem.
I
Thanks
hope
for
you
coming
have
up.
a fantastic day.
You too. Do, 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 do. Excuse me. Well, bollocks, everybody. Peterson is a shill for the evolution globalists. Yes. I did call myself a shill in a recent video. I don't remember which one, though. Peterson, do you want to go spearfishing for tuna? No. How the hell are you going to spearfish a tuna? Those things are massive. I mean, not all tuna are, but... I've never, like, gone snorkeling or anything like that. I've never been to a part of the ocean where the water is warm. I'd really like to do that sometime. All right, fingers crossed, everybody. Hi, Leo, what's up?
Hi, I've never done this before. So the discussion about the statistics of like evolution happening. I always find it weird how they say the statistics are so unlikely that it becomes impossible. And for me, it's kind of the opposite. I would say the statistics being so unlikely of it happening, that makes it incredible. And I always feel like whenever they encounter something that doesn't seem to be statistically possible, they say that must be God. And for me, it's like the improbability of the statistical part happening, that is all God needs to be. I don't think God exists, but I think that's the name he put on something when our brain can't comprehend the improbability of something happening.
Are you like in a cathedral or something? You have.
I'm in a gym.
You're in a gym. Okay, you have massive reverb.
Sorry.
It actually sounds kind of cool.
It's like I'm preaching from a pulpit.
Yeah, basically.
So that's for me. The improbability of things happening, that always seems to be, that's enough for me to say we don't need God to say that something happened. Because the improbability of something happening is already amazing enough for us to appreciate that. And the whole
Yeah, I mean, you can appreciate it. What people are searching for is what's the best explanation for this fact we observe in the face of what seem like overwhelmingly small odds. And so they're positing a cause, I guess, behind it.
Cause and effect. And I think, yeah, that's probably almost biologically and sociologically and psychologically ingrained in our people. Because, I mean, already with evolution, it's always, well, what's the cause of us existing in this way at this time? It'll be, well, the mutations that happened and then the sheer ridiculous amount of permutations that happened. That caused life to exist in this way.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking for a cause, well, there it is. That's the only cause we really need. I think people are forgetting how mind-bogglingly huge the number of permutations are. And it's hard for our brains to really work around that statistical improbability.
Yeah. What are you doing at the gym?
I'm cleaning a turtle tank. I'm a teacher.
Oh, interesting. I hear turtle tanks are pretty gross.
Yep.
Is it shit, what are they called? The salmonella turtles, the red striped ones. What are they called?
Red ear sliders.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my bit. That's I kind of felt the same when like the sheer vastness of space hit me. And I was thinking, look at how huge space really is. And then instead of saying, wow, look how amazing God is, I went the opposite way and said, how can we as a people think that the story that we wrote about ourselves is the explanation for something this huge? Like, how arrogant of us to think we have any idea what's going on.
Yeah. I gotta tell you a funny turtle story. So this girl I dated in college, she had a son, and this was before I met her, but she had a pet turtle apparently, and it died. And I think it died because he was always like taking it out and touching it and stuff, and so it probably, like, I don't know, got sick and died from that somehow. But what was the turtle's name? The turtle had a really funny name. I want to say it was something like Speedy or something like that.
That's exactly what my turtle's named.
I don't remember. Oh, what was his name? I can't remember. But the funny part of it is she didn't tell him that it died. She told him that it ran away.
There we go.
It's like the idea of a turtle running away. It's like, no, stop. Come
We had
back.
two turtles.
No,
We used to have two turtles
wait.
in our school. And they were both named something along the lines of Speed or Speedy.
Yeah.
Because let the kids name them.
What was its name? It had a really funny name, but I don't remember. You know, it'd be a great name for a turtle, Senor von Lodenstein, porque es muy rápido. When people would ask you what, that's an office joke for everybody. So the turtle's name isn't Speedy or Fast or anything like that, but the name means, what doesn't mean it, but its name is that because it's very fast. So.
Yeah. Yep. Always leave the naming up to kids. You'll find some pretty colorful names pop out, or just pretty obvious ones.
Yeah, or that.
All right. Well, thanks for letting me on.
You're welcome. Nope, nothing. What the fuck is going on? Anyways, yeah. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do with my hands. Damn, this one. It shows up. Can you guys see my sweet scar? It's showing up pretty. When it's cold out, it's like super purple. I don't know if there's a name for it, but like I scar really badly. Most people, their surgical scars just end up like a gray line, you know? But my scars, they get really fat and pink and purple. I have this one on my shoulder. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not. But wow, look at that farmer's tan. That's insane. But and you can't really see it very well, but it's like the size of a quarter. And I had a keloid that had to get taken off. Well, it wasn't really a keloid. It was something like that though. But my sister had like an identical kind of elective surgery or whatever on her arm because she just had a really big mole she didn't like. And she just has this really thin gray line for her scar. And I have this just massive purple monstrosity. Sadly, I think I'm gonna go. Maybe we'll do a live later today or maybe tomorrow. I do kind of, I need content, don't I? I'm not sure if I have a week's worth of material, but I don't know. We'll see. I may be back later tonight or maybe tomorrow. We shall see. Goodbye, TikTok. All right, YouTube, it's the after show. What is going on? Nobody on YouTube is even paying attention to me. They're all arguing with each other, which I have no problem with. It's fine. Doobie-doobie-doo. Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-doo. Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-doo. Space Marine 2 question mark. I'm gonna try to regularly do a live stream every Tuesday and Thursday. So I'll do gaming stuff on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but also when I'm bored. I do plan on doing some Arma maybe later today, so we'll see if I sorry, we'll see if I that may happen. Would I like to join you for a stream later about evolution? Depends on what platform, I guess. Because you never pay attention to YouTube. Well, to be fair, I don't pay attention to TikTok either because I'm talking to a guest. All right. Well, you'll all have to. I'm going to end all the vegan debates that are happening right now, unfortunately. So I will see everybody later.